Yes, love and lies. You know what? There's several things I love a lot. I love storytelling. And I love my parents, and I love my family and my daughter. And every once in a while people would say, how did you become a storyteller? Well, I would always give them the easy, quick answer because it's the one that I remember the best. And that is, well, it's through my Girl Scouting. That's how I became a storyteller. No, really, my daughter came home one day in tears. And anybody here that's been a scout leader probably has heard the same cry. Daddy, Mommy works shift work, and if we can't get someone to be a co-leader, we can't have a scout troop. Please help Mrs. Swayze. And I said, you know what? I'll help for 1 year until one of the other mothers can do it. I'm a lifetime member of GSUSA. I've been a member for 20 years now. So from campfire to campfire, word got around that I like to tell stories to my daughter. And people would ask me, and did you know that a lot of people in Girl Scouting happen to be teachers? A lot of the adults are teachers, and they'd say, hey, you know, we actually pay people at our school to do what you're doing here. Cool. That's really neat. So I started doing it, and I became a professional and got paid for it. You know, I support my storytelling habit working as a master electrician, but I get to tell stories, and it's great. That's what I usually tell people, because, like I said, that's what I used to remember. Growing up in Bar Harbor, my mom used to tell me stories all the time. There were good days and sometimes not so good days, because my mom was a paranoid schizophrenic. And this was many years before they had medication to help people. Sure. So there'd be a revolving door thing. When things were good, things were great. When things weren't good, it wasn't so great. So I always just assumed that that was normal for people. Until one day, we found out that Mom, who was also a diabetic, was dying of renal disease. And her kidneys would quit in about 2 years. That year, we all wanted to be close to her at Christmas. And we were sitting and, you know, having family bonding time, and my dad and her got into an argument. I said, come on, guys, you know, let's not spoil the Christmas holiday. It's okay, let's just go ahead and start over. And my mom turned around and she looked right at me and she said, shut up, or I will take care of you. I'm 6'2", over 180 pounds. My mother at the time was 5'1", barely 120 wet. And yet, I felt like a 5-year-old ball of jelly. I couldn't move. I told my wife to really get me out of there. We have to go back home. I need to get out of there. No one could understand what had come over me, but I just couldn't cope with it. I couldn't handle it. And I had a friend who was going through counseling, and she said, you really should talk to my counselor. And I did. And the counselor helped me understand one piece at a time. She said, what we're going to do is we're going to take these painful memories of you that you seem to be having, and we're going to take them one at a time. We're going to look at them, dust them off, put them in their proper place, and then put them away, and you'll be okay in, well, maybe 2 years in counseling. And I've seen other people, and so have you, counsel forever. And I didn't want to be that way, so I said, whatever it takes, I'm there. Just tell me what I need to do. And I would be talking to her, and I would get these aches and pains, you know. And sometimes I'd be talking to her, and I mean, really, I'd really feel pain in my head, and my throat would get really tight, my chest. And in exploring this, we found out that I was physically abused as a child, and that the trauma was so intense that I would lay in my bed at night as a 5-year-old child, and I would make up my day. And that was my reality. And I believed it for over 30 years. My counselor told me that it's okay, now that I know that, to put it back where it needs to be. And that the memories of my mom when she was a good mom are still a good mom. And none of that's changed. And that I'm totally in control, and that actually what I got was a gift. Can you imagine someone that's such a great storyteller that they can recreate their day from being beaten? Yeah. So I embraced that, and my mom and I had a great relationship. Of course, at that time, she'd already been on Prolixin since I was a young adult. So her schizophrenia was pretty much under control. In the last year, after the counseling went pretty well. Now, my brother came up to me, my little brother, and he one day was really sad. He said, Vernon, well, I got ready to leave today, and Mom said she wouldn't be here next week because she's going to die. I said, yeah, probably. About 2 years ago, the doctor said that she was going to die in 2 years, and it's just about on time. Of course. That's why I went to counseling. I'm okay with this. And I was really lucky because I worked in Bar Harbor as a storyteller at a local camp. So it made me go to Bar Harbor where she was, once a week. And I would go in and I would visit Mom. And one day she did to me just like the others, she said, Vernon, I won't be here next week. I'll probably be dead. I said, really? Mom, are you going to be buried in Winter Harbor at the family graveside like you always said? She said, yeah. I said, well, I'll tell you what. If I don't see you over here, I'll see you over there. She looked at me and she smiled. And for the next month and a half that she was alive, every time I visited, at the end of the visit, she'd go, I'll see you next week. And we'd both say, over here or over there. My love is for storytelling, my family, and my mom. The lies are the lies I told myself to protect them all.